All right, thank you. It looks like everybody is starting to join. If you are new to Pear Deck, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Emma and I will be leading this webinar. Please go on ahead and go to joinpd.com and you are going to enter this 6-letter join code to join my session as a student today. So that join code is AVWEUR. You will need to open a second tab or a second device to join this session as a student today. It's not required, but I think it's really important. It's a great way to get a sense of what Pear Deck will be like for your students in your classes. So again, please go on ahead, go to joinpd.com and enter this join code. As we wait for everybody to join, I do want to point out one of the really helpful features that I love about Pear Deck. It's this number down here that says 16 students connected so far. This is really helpful when you're in class, especially now that we're teaching still in the middle of a pandemic. And if you're anything like me, you have students who are at home, students who are in the class, you've got a big combination of everybody in your class, and it's hard to know where everybody's at. This is a great way to make sure that if you are teaching who are students who are both at home and online at the same time, this is a great way to get a sense of where the class is and if you're ready to start the lesson officially yet. So I'm going to give everybody one more minute or so to get joined on this deck, and then we will start. In the meantime, I'm also going to enlarge my screen. There we go. Now, the join code is great. It works for a week. So this join code, as long as I don't end the session, which we'll talk about later. So if that doesn't make sense yet, don't worry. The join code is great. It's valid for 7 days, so students can access their work and it will all be saved automatically. However, we also have a join link. So you can click this button right here that says give students a link. And I'm going to go on ahead and paste that in the chat. And what that does is it makes it even easier to join your Pear Deck session for students. They don't even need to enter the join code. So this is a great way to have younger students join your Pear Deck without having to worry about them mistyping the join code. So here's that link in the chat again. And I do see that we have a question in the chat. Somebody asks, is it best to have students join by computer or on their phone? And I would say that that's totally up to you. I usually have my students join by computer just because they already have their computers open for the rest of the class. But students can join from any device as long as it has Wi-Fi connection. So it's totally up to you, and it really just depends on what devices your students have available to them. So let's go on ahead and get started. I'm going to click start class, and the join code is going to disappear from the main screen, but it's always right here up in this top corner. So what's also awesome is if a student comes late to your class, as we all know that they're bound to do at some point or another, they can join your Pear Deck session seamlessly. There isn't a lot of huss and puff about how do I join the session, or what are we doing? Where are we going? Students walk in, they see that you've got Pear Deck up, and they know to sit down, enter the join code, and jump in right away. So once again, welcome to Pear Deck and this webinar about creating slides and foreign language lessons. I am Emma, and I am so thankful that you guys are here this evening. So let's get started. So my name is Emma. I am a customer success representative or customer support representative at Pear Deck, and I have been working at Pear Deck for almost 2 years now. I am also an instructor. I teach ESL and Spanish at the college level. And I'm here today to share with you the wonders and magic of Pear Deck. So on our agenda for today, first, we're going to experience Pear Deck as a student. Then we will explore the teacher views and controls. At this time, after that, I'll pause and I'll take all of your questions about, that you've had up until that point. And then we will walk through creating a Pear Deck lesson with your existing presentation slides. And at the end, we will have a second round of questions. So I do ask that you please hold off on your questions until these designated times. So right in between step 2 and 3, and then again at step 4. It is very likely that I will answer your questions as we work through this webinar. And that way we can focus our time on the questions that are really important to you guys. And we can make sure that we get as much content as possible today. So without further ado, let's go on ahead and get started. On the screen that you opened in a second window, you should see the options to answer this question. So I like to get to know you guys a little bit. So please tell me on your student screen, when you were a student, who was your favorite teacher and why? All right, I'm going to go on ahead and share some of these responses. I am just loving them. So they were all fun and creative. She was very passionate, energetic, and smart. The class was self-structured and we had an opportunity to help in lower grades. These are all such great answers. I wanted to ask you guys this today because I know that it is a particularly challenging time to be a teacher. Everybody is expecting a lot of you, so please let me be the first to say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for all that you put up with, and thank you for all of the effort that you put in to your job and to helping these students. So I think that it's really important that we remember why we all became teachers. And I think that this slide is a testament to that. I can see in the chat that some people are having trouble accessing the student screen. If you have not yet joined my Pear Deck presentation, please open up a second tab or a second browser window and go to joinpd.com and enter in this join code that's up in the top right corner here of my shared screen. You should be able to join the presentation as a student that way, or I can also drop the link in the chat again. So this is how you open up the student view. You're going to join my session as a student right now so that you can understand what your students will experience when you use Pear Deck in your presentations. Now, one great thing about Pear Deck is that on this shared teacher screen, which we call the Projector View, responses are always anonymous, which means students can feel super comfortable responding honestly and accurately. Let's go on ahead and move on to the next slide. So what does your classroom look like this fall? Tell me, what is your teaching modality? And by answering this question on your student view, you can see how easy it is for students to give their input on a Pear Deck slide. And the best part is we can watch responses come in real time. So let's see what everybody is answering. All right, it looks like we've got a lot of people who have all online classes, and we've also got a few people who are either hybrid or in-person and socially distanced or some other option. Personally, I'm teaching in-person and socially distanced and online, depending on the class. But Regardless of your course modality, Pear Deck can help you engage every student in every lesson, which is the true magic of Pear Deck. So the other great thing about Pear Deck, so right now we can see a poll, so we can see how many students have answered each way, and we can see it in real time as you guys continue to change your answers or as new people continue to join and add their answers. And we can also change it to look at how each person individually answered. So this isn't as helpful on a multiple choice slide, but it will be helpful when you look at some other response types. Let's keep going. So Pear Deck lets you make any presentation interactive. So every single student can participate from their own device, even the shy students who would never raise their hands normally. As you've seen over the last few slides, answers are displayed anonymously on the projector view. With Pear Deck, students don't have to be worried about being called out for their answer, so even the shyest students participate. Personally, as a language teacher, I think that this is one of the best features and the biggest benefits of using Pear Deck. My students, I find, are more willing to use their language skills in class, and they're more comfortable with making mistakes, which as language learners, they're bound to do. And even more so, what's even better considering the current teaching climate is that students can respond regardless of their physical location. So when I'm teaching in person, I have this like taped rectangle at the front of the classroom that I am not supposed to leave. And there's a plexiglass shield around me and my students aren't supposed to come near me. My students have to sit socially distanced, so they're at least 6 feet apart. And that's really hard to do sometimes. I mean, it's hard to, like, it completely changes your teaching style, but Pear Deck allows me to monitor their student progress and their individual progress and their individual understanding of my lessons while maintaining that social distance and still getting the best benefit of teaching both in person and online. So here we go. For example, I can monitor their understanding of a grammatical concept by creating a fill in the blank draw slide like this. So if you notice at the bottom of your draw slide, you have a bunch of tools. You can click a text tool to enter in words or type words so that you don't have to try to draw in the words. But you can also try to draw in. All right, I'm gonna go on ahead and show responses now. So as I was telling you guys, there are a few different ways to show responses in Pear Deck. So normally on a drawing slide like this, the default layout is the overlaid layout. However, in this type of an example, it's not very helpful. It gets a little cluttered. So I like to use the grid layout. This lets me get a quick temperature check of how my students are doing and if they're on task. Otherwise, I can also search through them by the list layout. And this lets me see how individuals are responding. I see there's a chat really quick. How do I submit? Okay. I will answer your question in just a minute. That just came through to the chat. So this is a great way to watch all of the responses come in real time. And I just see that somebody in the chat asked, how do I submit answers? So there is no submit answers in Pear Deck. Pear Deck automatically saves student responses as they work through your deck. There is no button for them to save, and this means that there is no chance of them losing all of their work, which I think if you've had any students ever, you know, is a great relief that they cannot do anything to lose it. They cannot. So again, all of the responses on the projector view are going to be anonymous, but there is a way to see students' names next to their responses, which we'll look at in just a moment. So you can also use Pear Deck to check other types of information. So this is a draggable slide. If you don't know Spanish, don't worry. This was an example that I had my Spanish students do, but this is a great way to check their understanding of prepositions. Or you can have them demonstrate a lot of different kinds of knowledge with these types of slides. You've just got to be a little creative in how you're going to ask students to apply their knowledge in your presentations. So I am going to go on ahead and show responses again, but this time before I show responses, I'm actually going to use the lock slides button. So my students, I don't know about yours, but my students are a little susceptible to peer pressure. And if I show responses on the projector, sometimes I can see them changing their responses. So when I don't want to do that, what I do is if everybody could please turn their eyes back to my shared screen briefly, just so that I can show you this super cool tip. You're going to want to know this. So on this projector view, my shared screen with you in Zoom right now, I'm going to go and click this lock screens button. I'm just going to click it once. And now if you look back to your student view, the view that you joined in a second tab or a second device, you should see that you can't change your answers anymore. So now I can show your responses and nobody is able to move theirs, which is great. Again, if you have students who are a little susceptible to peer pressure. Now, I went on ahead and unlocked your responses, but we are going to go on ahead and move through. So typically, I think now is a good time to talk about the basics of Pear Deck. We typically think of Pear Deck as having 3 views. There's the student view, which is the view that you have open in a second tab or on a second device right now, and you used the join code to enter and join as a student. That's the student view. We also have the projector view. The projector view is the view that I'm sharing with you right now in this webinar. We can tell that it's the projector view because there is the join code right up here in the top right-hand corner. And because up at the top, it says projector view in the URL. Or it says projector, I think. I can't quite see it because the Zoom functions hide it, but it says projector. There's also a second teacher view that is the teacher dashboard view. Now, normally you're going to keep this view to yourself because this is the view that lets you see students' names next to their responses and give them individualized feedback. However, I'm going to show you guys because I want you guys to know how to use it in your own lessons. So there are a few ways to open up the teacher dashboard. Usually when you start a Pear Deck lesson, the dashboard automatically opens in a second window. However, I'm going to show you guys how to open it just in case it doesn't, or in case you need to reopen it. So you're going to click the more actions button down here, right next to the end button. And you're going to just click open dashboard in a new window. This opens the teacher dashboard, and we will be able to see all of the lovely features that there are here. So the teacher dashboard has a student roster. I'm not going to click on this right now because I don't want to invade anybody's privacy. It will show all of your names and emails, which I don't want to share with everybody. But you can see how many students are joined. So 43 out of 48 students right now means that 48 students have signed on to my presentation, and 43 of them or 42 of them currently have the presentation window open. So if students leave your presentation, the number goes down, and you can then know that some of your students are not on task or some of your students are not are no longer in class. Now, let's take a quick look at some of the responses in the teacher dashboard so that you guys can get a sense of the lovely features available. So we're going to go to this one and we're going to go to grid layout really quick. So here we go. Now, if you remember on the projector view of this screen, we could see everybody's lovely responses, but we couldn't see anybody's names, which was great since we were on the projector view and I was sharing our responses with everybody. It is great for kids to know that their names won't be associated with incorrect answers or correct answers or embarrassing answers in front of their peers, but it's important that you, the teacher, know who is answering each way. And in addition to that, the teacher dashboard has some magic superpowers, as one of my colleagues calls it, and let me show you them. So not only can you see students' names from the teacher dashboard, but you can also leave them individualized feedback. So if you click this speech bubble icon next to a student's response, you can leave them some written feedback. So I'm going to go on ahead and tell this participant, thanks for sharing. Now, when I send this feedback on their student view, they will receive a notification down here. It will look like that same speech bubble icon and it'll have a little red dot over it. They can click on that and they can view my comment, and they can even return back to that slide if the slide is in student paste mode. It's a great way to give your students some corrective feedback or to give them some encouragement if they're right on track with what you're expecting them to be doing, or if you want to give them a little guidance and say, hey, maybe you should check this answer again. The feedback tool is great for all of that. Another great feature in the dashboard view is this star response option. So I'm going to go on ahead and just click 3 responses at random to star. And then I'm going to click show responses. So I'm showing responses on the projector view. And look at that. Only those 3 responses that I starred showed up. This is a fantastic way to really focus your classroom discussion on a few exemplary answers that are either common misconceptions, exceptionally good, or are really thought-provoking. So this way you can also hide distracting answers from the projector view. Sometimes students aren't ready to listen to directions, and so you've got to have ways to not enable that. And that is one way. You can also block a student from a session. I'm not going to do that, but you can block them from the roster, or you can also hide responses. So if I want to pick on Joanne, I'm going to just click this hide response. And when we go to the projector view, you'll see that that one disappeared. It was right here. And I can go back and I can click show response. You always keep the response. It's never deleted, but you can hide it from the projector view so that it doesn't distract students. The projector view or the dashboard view is also, it acts as a remote control to the presentation. So as I move through on the projector view, it will automatically move as I move through on the dashboard view, it will automatically move the projector view as well. So this is like your second remote that you can use to control the presentation and the pace of the class in Pear Deck. All right, let's continue on. So with Pear Deck, there are so many ways that you can assess your students' learning. For example, you can use our Add Audio tool to assess students' understanding of the spoken information. So please listen to the audio clip on this side. To listen to the audio clip, you'll need to go down to your navigation bar as the student, and you should see a headphones icon in this lower right-hand corner. You should be able to click on the icon and then hit the play button. That should play the audio file for you. I'm going to give everybody a 30-second timer. All right, time is up. And let's take a look at responses. So on the number plot, or on number slides like this one, the overlaid layout is automatically a, oh my goodness, my dog is being so loud. I'm sorry about that, you guys. Here you go. On the overlaid layout, it displays as a box and whiskers plot. So you can click this zoom in button if you want to get rid of outliers and take a closer look. So it looks like most people said, I said 68. You can also look at the individual layout to see what different responses there are. It's very fun to have them practice their numbers this way, especially when some of the numbers are really tricky to hear. My students love practicing numbers just because they think it's the biggest competition. Really quick, I would like to show you all how I set that lock slides timer. You can click the lock button or the lock screens button and then select a 30-second, 1 minute, or 3-minute timer. And it will automatically appear on student screens as the timer counts down and then automatically lock their screens at the end of the timer. This is a great way to control the pace of your lesson and to give students a really helpful cue as to when they need to have their answers in by. So continuing on, another great thing that you can do with Pear Deck slides is add in a video or a website into the student view. So if you look at your student view right now, you should have the song Ice Ice Baby embedded on the right-hand side of your slide, I think. I love to use this as an example of plagiarism for my students. So I usually have them listen to Ice Ice Baby. And then I'm going to go on ahead and move the slide. If everybody could please pause your video on your student view. I'm going to move your slide to the next one. And now you have Under Pressure, and you can hear how exactly similar those two songs are for the first 15 seconds. Using website slides like this for videos or for other websites is a great way to send students to outside resources without, I mean, if they're littles, without expecting them to do too much, without expecting them to find their way there themselves. Or for older students, it's a great way to send them there without the distractions that come with asking them to Google something or to check out a video on their own. So if everybody could please pause your videos on your student view. I do want to move on, but I don't want you guys to have to keep hearing, well, I mean, it is a good song, but let's continue on. So here are some other examples of how you can use Pear Deck to look at the understanding of your students. So you can use draggable icons, you can use drawing slides. There are so many different ways to check the understanding of very similar concepts. So with this one, I do like to actually look at the overlaid layout, because what this helps me understand is it helps me understand where the class is as a whole. So right now, if you look at my shared screen, you can tell that it looks like most of us are pretty familiar with what prepositions are, and we're pretty successful at identifying where they are in this sentence. That's fantastic. This would be assigned to me as a teacher like full steam ahead. We're ready to learn the next concept. But if I see that most flags are not centered around where the prepositions are, I might take some time to review those concepts with my students before steaming ahead. And this is great because it means that your students are happier and you are happier when both of you know and understand where the other one is at and where they need to be going. So yes. Ooh, I lost my train of thought a little bit there. All right. Here's another example of how you can use Pear Deck to get a quick temperature check of how students are doing. So I like to use these kinds of slides as check-in slides or warm-up slides with my students for concepts that were just covered in the homework last night. So I use this as a quick check-in to see A, what I'm gonna see on their homework later when I grade it, and B, so that I know just where we're starting class off today. And I don't know if you noticed about this slide, but there are actually different options. So what I really like about this slide is if I were famous, I might want to live in Europe. If I were famous, I would want to live in Europe. If I were famous, I could want to live in Europe. They're all technically grammatical. So it would depend on what I had been talking with my students about. And this will show me who really did the homework versus who maybe is just kind of skirting by. So it's also a great way, you can use that feedback tool again to send individualized comments back to your students about their responses. And you can even ask them to answer a little bit more. So maybe if I saw this in my class, I might use this new prompt button, which is right down here. It's right next to the lock screens button. This is how you can add a new interactive question to your current presentation slide. So if I wanted to come over here, I could just choose this same text or this same slide, and I'm going to make it a please write a response, and I'm going to ask you, why did you choose the option that you chose on the last slide? So why did you choose might, should, or would? What do you think that meant, or what would that sentence exactly mean? While you guys start writing your responses, I'm going to check the chat really quick. I see that there's a few questions in there already. All right, really quick. One of these students asked, or one of the participants asked, do teachers have a free database of pictures to choose from in order to add the picture to the presentation? When I'm creating Google Slides, I usually just use their insert picture tool and then do a search through them. I can show you that in a little bit. Pear Deck also has lots of templates that are available, and you are free to use any of our images. I will show you all of that in a little bit. Somebody else asked if I will be sharing the recording via email. Yes, you will receive an email with the recording and all of my slides. So please don't worry. Somebody else said that they have trouble with videos in Pear Deck. I will show you later today, well, later in this webinar in just a minute, how to add videos to your presentation as a website slide. If you are still having issues after that, please feel free to email me or help@peardeck.com. We would be more than happy to help you get set up. And I will also show you how to change the draggable icons, as it looks like lots of people would like to see that. And yes, I will also show you how to add more than 3 choices on the multiple choice slides. So I'm going to go on ahead and continue on. Thank you all for sharing. So really quick, let's look at the Pear Deck resources that are available. So we have the Pear Deck templates. We release so many template packs. I'm amazed at our marketing department and at our teacher coaches who help create all of these. They are amazing and beautiful, and I love them. And you can see them on your slide right now. You can also find them on our website under Explore Resources. They're always there, and they are free to use, free to customize. They're incredible. We also release weekly wonders, which are like a set of 3 templates from the same content that are geared towards different levels of students, so elementary, middle school, and high school. And they are built around what we call awe-inspiring content. So they are like stories of inventions, creations. They're great. You should definitely check them out. They are also on our website, free to use, free to download. Would recommend them. And last but not least, we have our Newsela daily decks. So we have partnered with Newsela to use their curated news articles, and we create Pear Deck template packs around them that encourage critical thinking, literacy skills, and global awareness. They are also always on our website. And you guys will be receiving a copy of these slides, so you will have links to all of these resources in an email tomorrow. So really quick before we look at how to build a Pear Deck, I wanted to talk about setting up your device. So when you present, you will want to have the easiest setup will be if you have 2 devices or 2 screens. So right now I'm using a laptop and then a second monitor to present to all of you. But you can also do it with just 1 device, totally possible. I've done it. You'll just want to make sure that you snap your screens together into the split screen view. And similarly, we have guides for students right here. We also have a student setup guide on the website. I'm going to gloss over this pretty quickly so that we can spend more time creating Pear Decks, but you will get all of this information in a takeaway later today and in an email tomorrow. Please don't worry. So before we go on to creating Pear Decks, I would like to take this time to pause and answer any questions that you have about the student view, about the teacher view, about anything that we've covered so far. You can use this Pear Deck slide to submit any of your questions to me, and I will answer them. All right, I'm going to go on ahead and share some of these responses really quick. So, can you project the presentation and they can listen to audio? I haven't been able to speak and my students to listen. So if you add audio to your slides, students should be able to access the audio clips if they go down to like the headphones icon and then press play. Or you'll need to use a video conferencing system if you want it to be like a live audio where you're speaking to your students and they hear you in real time. If you have more questions about that, let me know later and I'd be happy to talk about that a little bit more. So will student slides be saved automatically? Yes, they will always be saved. And they are saved in your Pear Deck sessions. So each time that you click present with Pear Deck and you generate a new join code, you start a new session. Student responses are saved in the session in which they were created, and you can always find them by going to peardeck.com and logging in as a teacher, which I will actually show you in a little bit. So as long as you have your settings turned to require student logins, their work will be saved with their name and their email address automatically. If you have anonymous login turned on, where instead of in the dashboard view seeing people's names, you see anonymous avatars, you won't automatically see their names. I would recommend adding a slide to the start of your presentation and asking students to write their name on that slide so that you can see their names with their information later. So do students get feedback only if they are currently in Pear Deck when you leave it, or will they receive an email or something as well? I'm afraid we don't quite yet have a way to notify students via email of feedback, but I will take your question as a request and I'll share that information with our developers. In the meantime, they'll only see the notification in their student view if they are currently in the Pear Deck session, but they can view that notification if they rejoin the session later. So if they're not in the Pear Deck session right now, and you leave feedback, but then they rejoin your session in a few days, they can still see that feedback and still interact with it. It does not show in a takeaway currently, but we have heard that request before as well, and I will also add your vote to that idea with our developers. So if students are using Zoom in their browser, not the app, will they be able to see and open a Pear Deck link? Yes, they should be able to. That shouldn't be an issue. How you embedded audio into your slides, I will show you that in just a minute when we go look at how to build a Pear Deck. Where I can find this particular slide in a template library. So if you're talking about the slide that we're on right now, this is actually one of the, I think it's one of the end of the lesson templates, but I edited the wording to fit my needs, which I can also show you how to do. You had a keyboard, you had a shortcut key at the bottom for switching screens on the last slide, which I just missed out on seeing. Could you show us how to tell us that again? A shortcut key for switching slides. Was it this button? So if you click the number of slides that you have over here, you can scroll through slides and pick a different one really quick. Or switching screens. I'm trying to think of what that would be. I'm really sorry. You will receive a copy of these slides and a recording of this session. So hopefully your answer will be somewhere in there if I can't think of it before then. If you've made a mistake on a slide and fixed it during an instructor-paced session, do changes update live during the session or on student-paced sessions? I'm afraid not, but this is a really common request that we've heard, and I will definitely share your request with the developers. I will show you guys how to embed a video or another website. Sometimes I want to be able to write on the Pear Deck slides as the teacher. What is the best way to do that? A great question. What I would recommend is joining your own session as a student in a second tab. So I can do that right now and show you what that is going to look like. So I can join my own session as a student. I will be prompted to check in with the check-in slide. And then if this were a drawing slide, which I can't make it from this view, you can then access all of the drawing features just like a student, which then allows you to annotate over the slides. No need to apologize. So usually the teacher would be on the projector view to run the class. It depends. You can use either view to run the class. You're going to want to share the projector view with your students. And then I have the dashboard view actually open in a second window right here that I have on my other device. But you can run it from either view. You just won't want to share the dashboard view since that shares names with students. Do students have to use a Gmail account? No, students can sign in with a Microsoft account or a Google account, or they can sign in anonymously. It is up to you. And some of these features are only available with the premium subscription. That is correct. So the dashboard view is a premium feature, as is add audio and drawing and draggable slides, except for the drawing and draggable slides that are in our template library. You can use those regardless of what feature you're on. Is it possible to get a membership for my department of 5? We no longer do group subscriptions, I'm afraid, but you can definitely individually purchase Pear Deck, and we can talk more about that in a little bit. if you insert a new prompt in the middle of the lesson, can you modify it? I'm afraid that you can't, but we've definitely heard that request before too. And since I have all of your responses saved permanently, I can add all of your requests to our internal database of feedback. So can students type with accents in their responses? Yes, they can. If you use the keyboard commands that you normally would, so on a Mac, it's Command E and then, why isn't it working? Wait, there, it's Option E. So the Option and then the E key, and then whatever letter you would like to have accented. So students can write with accents. It will just depend on their device how exactly they do it. Can you see all of one student's responses at a glance? Oh wait, if you don't have the premium account, can you still see students' answers after the session? If you log in with Google, yes, you can export responses to a Google spreadsheet, which will show number, text, and something else. Oh my goodness, I can't think of everything. It will show all their responses except for drawing and draggable on a Google spreadsheet next to their name and email address. So you can still see answers after the session is ended. I'm afraid that you can't see all of one student's responses at a glance during the session, but you can publish takeaways, which are individual Google Docs that contain all of your slides and all of one student's work. So they're like individual for your students. You'll all receive one in just a little bit when I end this session, and you can get a sense of what that will look like. So that will probably be very helpful. Are there any features in the works for students to practice speaking or recording by themselves? At this time, we are not currently working on the ability for students to record their own audio, though I do understand where you're coming from, and I totally agree that that would be a great feature to add. You can embed other websites such as, I think you can embed Flipgrid and other similar sites where you can have them practice from within your presentation, but it won't be right on Pear Deck, I'm sorry. Will we get a certificate like on Nearpod? I think so. If you're referring to a certificate for attending this webinar, yes, absolutely. You will receive one in the morning in that email tomorrow. It might not be in the morning, in an email tomorrow afternoon, probably. When adding yourself as a student, does the registration of the account cause any problem? Do you have to register as a student with a different account? Nope, you can log into your own session as a student with your same email address, no issues. It's no problem at all. And what is the Option key not on a Mac? I think it's usually Command, but there are different keystrokes for different devices. If you just Google how to type accents on your device, you will be able to find that information pretty quickly. So I'm going to go on ahead and actually stop questions there because I really want to show you guys how to create a Pear Deck. I will save time for questions again at the end after we have looked at this. So I'm sorry, but I really do want to show you guys how this is going to work. So here is a quick sample slide. Now, I know that my slides were beautiful, and that is in large part thanks to my lovely colleagues here at Pear Deck. And that can feel a little overwhelming as a teacher because you've got a lot going on, and you know, it can seem overwhelming to need to do everything. But the great news is that you don't need to. You can add Pear Deck to your existing Google Slides or PowerPoint presentations super easily. Let me show you. So here is an example of some of my old slides. When we were doing exam review, I would show this and I would ask students to help me fill this out. I might even type it out in front of them, or maybe if I was feeling like we needed some extra energy in the classroom, I'd ask them to come up to the board and fill it out all together. But now that I use Pear Deck, I can have each of them individually do it. So first things first is to open Pear Deck. I'm going to go to Add-ons, Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on, open Pear Deck add-on. That will open this Pear Deck sidebar, which is where all of the Pear Deck magic lives. So it's right here. Again, to open it, add-ons, Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on, open Pear Deck add-on. If you don't have the Pear Deck add-on yet, just go to Get Add-ons, and then you can search for Pear Deck in the Google Suite Marketplace and add it. Then I am going to make this, I think I'm going to make this a drawing slide so that they can fill out the entire slide. So to make it a drawing slide, hold on, I will show you guys that again. So to make it a drawing slide, I have the Pear Deck sidebar open. I'm going to go down to Ask Students a Question, and then I'm going to click on Draw. I'm using this as a draw slide and as a custom drawing slide because I already have the chart filled in, or I already have the chart that I want students to fill in. So with Pear Deck, you're going to add your questions to the slide. So you're going to add your questions to the body of your slide in Google Slides. So you could say, maybe I'll add a new slide and I'll say, ¿Cómo estás hoy? I forgot my accents, but ¿Cómo estás hoy? And we'll come over here and we'll do this. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. And we'll add that. Oh, because we want to be good examples. So you put your question on the body of the slide. Then you use the Pear Deck interactive sidebar to add interactivity for your students. So I'm going to make this one a text slide so that my students can tell me how they're doing today. And again, to do that, you just go to Ask Students a Question and then click Text. This is how you can add interactive questions to your existing slides. You're just going to do these. These will add them super easily. Yes, okay. What's also great about Pear Deck is we have tons and tons of those templates. Some of the templates are available right in here in the template library. So in the Pear Deck sidebar, the template library, you click on this arrow. This will open it up. This has subject, so examples by subject area. So language arts, world languages, social studies, science, math, littles, example questions for any content area. We also have our critical thinking and social emotional learning. And then we have the beginning of lessons, middle of lessons, and end of lessons templates. So I think this is where, oh shoot, that's not where it was. Maybe it was in here. Oh, there's that slide that I was using. I think somebody was asking about this template earlier. So you can add these, anybody can add these to any of their presentations at any time. And if you feel easily overwhelmed by technology, my recommendation to you is to just add one template to your slide. That's all you've got to do to get started with Pear Deck. Just add one template to your presentation and get started that way. That's it. It's easy as that. You can work up to more, but you don't need to go crazy. You don't need to make every slide interactive in your presentation. And actually, I don't think I would recommend that. I think that it's best to just start slow. So here you can see I've got another example slide for my students. I used to ask them to just walk me through it out loud. I would either call on students or I'd ask them to share their answers, or maybe I would have a worksheet for them to answer this on their own. But now that I have Pear Deck, I can make it so much easier. What I am going to do is I'm going to, I'm actually just going to copy this whole entire slide, and then I'm going to remove one of these sentences. So then I can make this a multiple choice slide. So since I already have the content down, I have the city already and my sentence frame already here. I'm just going to click choice. Now, this is a little bit different than the other two slides that we've added so far. Because multiple choice slides, you get to add your own options. So here I'm going to add S está without the accent because I like to trick them. Then está with the accent. And then if I want more than 3 options, I can just click add another right here. And that will add as many options as I need. So maybe I'm going to throw them for a loop and I'll say soy, because I know that they're really familiar with the yo forms of all of our verbs. And eres, and estás. And so once I'm done, once I'm satisfied with all of my choices, I'm just going to click Update Slide. And that will add Pear Deck Interactivity to my slides right away. So this gray Pear Deck bar right here is what makes your slides interactive. It is where the Pear Deck magic lives. Be careful not to delete this or move it. You do need to leave it there so that your slides are interactive and students can respond to them. But if you do want to change the slide at any time, so let's say I changed my mind, I only want to give them 4 response options. I'm going to go on ahead and just click choice again. That will pull up my options and I can actually just click these X buttons and delete them. And now I'm going to update slide. And I've changed my response options. Easy peasy. Really quick, I'm going to show you guys how to add a draggable slide and customize your draggable options. So here we see that we just have a red dot. To change it to a taco, you're going to go to the person, and here's where the taco lives. The flag lives right here. There are quite a few options that you can use. It's totally up to you. I'm going to go on ahead and add a fish. You can also click add another here and add up to 5 draggables per slide. You can adjust the size of the draggables by dragging this slider over here. And you can change the color if you click on the color square. So maybe I just want to make them all crazy colors. And that, once you're satisfied, you can click update slide and that will add it. Okay. Really quick, I'm going to show you guys how to add a website. So one thing that I always love to tell my Spanish students to do is to go to conjuguemos.com and practice their Spanish conjugations, because when you're teaching a low-level Spanish class, that's one of the hardest things they've got. So to add a website to your slide, you're going to go to the Pear Deck sidebar and you're going to click website. This brings up this lovely modal menu where you can enter a URL. Now, some URLs you can just add right as they are. And as long as this preview window is interactive, so if you can click things, it's all interactive. If this works, the site should work on the student view and you just click update slide. And that's that. If sometimes that doesn't work, like for YouTube videos, you need a special embed code. So I'm going to show you really quick how to do that. Ugh. Let's just go to youtube.com and we will find a quick, easy video. We'll talk about motivating yourself.
Hi, I'm Brett Callen.
Ugh. Okay, so to embed this, you're going to click share, embed, and then here's the important part. You only want the URL that's in between quotation marks, like this. This is all you want. You don't want all of the frame references, as they call them, all the stuff outside of the quotation marks, just the quotation marks. You're going to copy that. You can also copy the whole thing and like delete the frame references in another place. But to add that one, you're going to go to website slide, and then you just paste the embed URL right here, like that. And there is the video that students can watch. So I will show that one more time, as I can see somebody would like to see that from the chat. So from your YouTube video, you click share. When you click share, you click embed it's really important that you click embed. Copying this URL won't work, but clicking embed will open it up like this. Then you just want this URL. There's a URL that comes in between quotation marks. That's the URL that you're going to copy and then paste into your website slide setup. You can also find these directions in our help article that is about embedding websites. So our help website or our knowledge base is help.peardeck.com. And we have a plethora of articles here that are super helpful for adding or for figuring out how to do things. So what sites can I embed? Great sites to embed, embedding websites. I would recommend all of these. Really quick, I would like to show you guys how to add audio because I did promise that I would do that. Then I will take your questions and I will try to let you guys go. I'm so sorry for keeping you late. If you do need to go, hop off now. I totally understand. And I hope you have a lovely day and thank you for joining me. For those of you who still have questions or still would like to stick around, I am more than happy to keep working with you guys. So to add audio to slide, you are going to come into the Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on. You're going to scroll down to this add audio. You're going to click add audio to slide. The first time that you do this, you may need to grant permission to Pear Deck to access your microphone. And then you should see this. So you can record audio or you can upload your own audio files. It's up to you. I will show you how to record since I don't have anything ready to upload right now. You just click record. Oh, and then now you can see you do have to access sometimes. And now we are creating a Pear Deck recording. Once you hit pause, you can replay it and check it out. So save, and then you can listen to it. And now we are creating a Pear Deck recording. Once you hit pause, you can replay it and check it out. So if I'm happy with that, I can click add audio to slide. If I want to redo it, I can delete it and try it again. I'm just going to go on ahead and add it to the slide so that I can get back to your guys' questions. So add audio to slide. When this happens, you see this gray box is added up here. This is a little confusing, I know, but you can't play the audio through this box. Not up here, not on the student view. Students, as you guys should have seen in my Pear Deck presentation, need to go to the navigation bar, click the headphones icon, and then click play. For teachers, if you want to hear your audio again, just click add audio to slide, and that will pull it up. And then you can replay it and edit it as need be. Okay. I think I have shown you guys everything. Oh, I didn't show you how to add a template. It's pretty easy, but I'm going to do it just to make sure. You pick a template. Let's go to the, I really like the social emotional learning ones as check-ins. I'm just going to drop this one in. To add a template, you just click it and it will automatically add to your presentation. It might take a moment to think like it wants to do right now, but it should automatically add to your presentation. While I show you guys this, I'm going to go on ahead and move us to the next slide. You can start entering in your questions here while we wait for this template to add. That's where I will be looking for your next Q&As. So here is this. And remember, templates are totally editable. So if you want to say, how do you feel about the test? You can do that, and then students can decide where they are. It's lovely. Whenever your lesson is ready, so you're done editing, you're ready to present to your students, what you're going to do is you're going to come to the Pear Deck sidebar, and you're going to click this big green start lesson button. This will bring up two options. You can start a student-paced activity, which is where students can flip through the presentation at their own pace, or you can start an instructor-paced activity, which is what we did today. This is when you, the instructor, are in control of the pace of the slides, and students can't go to slides unless you are on that slide. So they can't move ahead, they can't fall behind, they are stuck with you at your pace. And then once you click one of these, the projector view and join code will open up in a new tab, and you will be able to go from there. So let me check some of these questions out. So my students are not getting the takeaways I thought I sent them. What am I doing wrong? Well, let's take a look at how to publish takeaways really quick. So I will go to peardeck.com and I'm going to log in as a teacher so that I can show you what this should look like. So the first step to publishing takeaways is to make sure that they're enabled in your settings. So you're going to go to My Account, Settings, and then you are going to turn on takeaways right here. Make sure that they're turned on. Otherwise, you won't be able to publish them. Once they're turned on, go to your sessions menus, find your session, make sure that it's closed. So I'm going to pick this one as an example. And then you can click takeaways right here to publish takeaways. So you click the more actions 3-dot button, takeaways, or this is also how you export to a spreadsheet. It's lovely. That should publish takeaways for you. Thank you so much for your kind words. Can you layer the slide features? For example, can you have a slide with the website and draw features? I'm afraid you can't quite do that at this point in time, but what you can do as a temporary workaround is to add, just like copy and paste your slide in Google Slides so that you have 2 or 3 versions of it, and add the different layers on and have students do it in a sequential order. Or if they're in student paced, you can let them know that they're allowed to choose a different one. But I will definitely share your feedback with our developers. So, can we use it for live lessons? Can we have live audio as well as projecting the slides to the students? So, if I'm understanding this question correctly, Pear Deck does not have a way to share your live audio with students other than if you add audio to your slides. If you would like to present to students live, like I'm doing to you right now, you're going to want to start a conference call with them, either on Zoom or Google Meets or Google Hangouts or Skype or Microsoft Teams, whatever your school uses to do online classes is what you'll do. And then you'll just use the you'll share your screen with students, and then you can present to them and speak with them live. There are instructions for doing that both on the Pear Deck help website and in the slides that you will receive in just a little bit. So I am so happy that this was so useful for you. Thank you for your kind words. And it is great that you can also log into your own Pear Deck as a student. Thank you for that feedback. I will definitely share that feedback about the terminology of world languages versus foreign languages with the team. And I really appreciate that you said something. I know that it can be hard to say something sometimes, and I really appreciate that feedback. Is there a Spanish version of Pear Deck? So I'm afraid that you can't change the language of the Pear Deck app. So for example, the students write your responses down here. The interactive footer can't be changed languages, but you can create all of your slides in Spanish. Students can respond in Spanish. You can use Spanish with Pear Deck. We just can't change the settings page quite yet, but we have heard this request before, and I will let the developers know that you are also interested in seeing that added. So let's see here. I am facilitating a Pear Deck or a professional development session about Pear Deck and language learning. This is very helpful to me. Is there anyone I can contact who would be willing to visit us or send us Pear Deck stickers or something else for our Chromebook? I would highly encourage you to apply for Share the Pear. We have a program to help people like you as they present Pear Deck. So if you go to our Pear Deck website, and then search for Share the Pair, you can find a bunch of resources, and you can apply to receive swag, just like you mentioned, like stickers or other stuff. You fill out, oh, why isn't it showing up? Maybe it's, why can't I find it? There it is. It's under community and then share the pair. Oh, brain fart. There are different versions. So if you're doing distance learning, Be Internet Awesome, Pear Deck trainings, ed camps, and conferences, all of these lovely options for sharing and presenting Pear Deck, and you may even be eligible to earn different swag or supplies. Thank you so much for your kind words. I have really enjoyed helping each and every one of you today. So, pieces about the part that only teachers can see. I just shared the link in Japanese to my colleagues. I'm interested in Share the Pair. Yes, I am so excited to hear that you guys are enjoying Pear Deck, and I hope that you never hesitate to reach out if you have any further questions or concerns. You can always find my contact information on these slides, and you will also always be welcome to reach out to help@peardeck.com. How can you get an awesome t-shirt like mine? Well, you can work for Pear Deck, or we do occasionally do giveaways on our social medias. So follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and keep your eye out there. So thank you all very, very much. I am so sorry that we went 15 minutes over. I was trying to be respectful of your time, but there's just so much to share about Pear Deck. If anybody has any more questions, please feel free to reach out to me at emmak@peardeck.com or to help@peardeck.com. We would be more than happy to help you out in any way we can. I'm going to go on ahead and end this session and share takeaways with you guys now so that you guys can see this information. Somebody, I think, asked in the chat earlier how to properly end sessions. So you can have as many sessions open as you want at a time. But keep in mind that if a session is open, students will be able to access the deck. Also, here are your takeaways, maybe. I will share this link with you guys now, and you should be able to access your takeaways within an hour. Usually it doesn't take that long, but just in case, sometimes when there's bigger classes, they take a little bit longer to process. And we should now be done. End session and published. Okay, return to Google Slides. And there we go. That is the end of the session. So as you guys may or may not be able to see in my deck right now, I can still see all of your student responses. You can always find responses in sessions, and you can have unlimited sessions open at any time. Oh, I forget everything. I see them now. Dios, muchas gracias. Ay, de nada. Will next week cover the same material, or will it be new? Next week we'll cover the same material more or less. There will be a little bit of variation because it changes every week a little, like just a little bit because of personal me. But it will mostly cover the same material. We do have a wealth of webinars offered every week though. I would definitely recommend checking out our other webinars that are listed on our training page. We also have special webinars that we show that are not always every week. So once again, thank you all for joining. Oh, there's a good question. Somebody just asked, when sessions are deleted after 30 days, can you still see student responses? Yes, because sessions are not deleted after 30 days, they are archived. So you have, let me share my screen again really quick so that I can show you. Okay, here we go. So you have this. You have your sessions, and these are all of your active sessions or sessions that have been open less than 30 days. But you can always go to your archived tab, and this will have all of your sessions forever and ever and ever. And you can always find student responses back here again. So you just need to restore the session, and that will open the session back up, and then you can see responses again. I don't know if anybody had joined. Oh shoot, nobody had joined this session, but you can see that you can always reopen the session and access answers again. Let's see here. There should be some webinars from Microsoft on the training page. If not, we do always have recorded webinars too. There's Office for 365. I will look more into that. Your takeaway should be shared automatically to your Google account. So if you go to your drive and then you go to shared with me, you should see it's, you should have a takeaway there soon. It might not quite be done creating yet, but very soon it should be there. And then somebody asked, can you delete sessions? I'm afraid that you can't delete sessions, but you can archive them and keep them out of your main sessions page if you don't want to have so many sessions like I do right now. Okay, I'm going to go on ahead and call it a night tonight. I hope that this has been helpful for everybody. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a lovely evening, and I hope you all have a fantastic Friday tomorrow. So thanks again.